All members of the Select Committee on Appropriations present on the platform, members of the portfolio committees from the different provinces, the colleagues from Parliament and provinces, you're all welcomed. The media, the stakeholders, and all interested parties who are on the platform, a warm welcome to you all. And I still believe that other members will be joining us who are not on the platform yet. We are dealing with this exciting and important Division of Revenue Bill. And I'm happy that we have not experienced glitches this year when we were doing consultation to the provinces. So it went well, but we will also hear from the members as they present. Lubabalo, do we have any apologies formally directed to you after having declared the meeting open? Lubabalo?
Yes, Chairperson.
Apologies. Do we have apologies?
Thank you so much, Chairperson. Chairperson, we do have a few apologies, Chair. Firstly, the apology of Honorable Karim, who is out of the country, but KZN is going to be represented by Honorable Bibi. We have just this morning received an apology from Free State. The portfolio committee is unable to join us because they are also part of the committee that is also conducting public hearings, that side, Chair. Those are the few apologies, Chairperson, but let me check. Sometimes colleagues do send messages. No, I don't have any message, Chairperson, indicating further apologies, Chairperson. So those are the few apologies that we have received. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. The apology that came direct to me is from Honorable Okam. He will like to leave the meeting earlier. He requested that the sequence that we usually follow when we present the mandates, we should accommodate him to be the first so that he can be released to attend to what he's committed to. So I made an agreement with him, because if you see Northern Cape is number 7, so we'll start with Northern Cape for him. Yes, Honorable Njadu. Is that Njadu?
Yes, Honorable Chair. Thank you very much. Yes, Chair.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, Chair. I also was called by Honorable Nita to say that the Eastern Cape will be late, so they are also requesting their mandate to be presented.
Okay. Okay. Honorable Nita is on the platform. Honorable Nita is on the platform, and we also have the chairperson of the portfolio committee, Honorable Njatu. I think that can be accommodated.
Fine. No, thank you, Chair. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I think between the two of them, they can sort that out. Who's calling for my attention?
Sorry, Chair. It's Honorable Bibi this side.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, Chair. I think me too. I've got that problem because I've got the portfolio committee at 10, which clashes with the one that I have now. But I said, let me start here with yours first. Then after that, I'll go back to my committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bibi. So we will give you after Eastern Cape. Yeah, my worry is that on the agenda we have minutes. I just hope by that time we will be having minutes, but also we have to make sure that when we adopt the mandates as the negotiating mandates, we need the requirements, deliberations. Can you go up? Let me see. Yeah, the agenda says deliberations and doesn't indicate any adoption. I don't know why. And then there's the minutes, number 5, consideration of draft minutes of the 22nd and 24th of March. Okay. Having said that, Honorable Okam, can we start with you?
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. Thank you also for the accommodation. Chairperson, if you will allow me to keep my video off, I can carry on. The Northern Cape Provincial Legislature came together and they discussed the negotiating mandate on the Division of Revenue Bill. Honourable Chairperson, I'm not going to go through the whole of the document that was received. There was public participation that was held. Some of the issues that came out of the public participation was that they want consequence management to be strongly adhered to. They complained about shortages of ambulance, vandalism at schools, and grave concerns were raised about funding when disasters occurred. That was some of the main concerns that came out of the public participation. With regards to the written participations, no written inputs were received. Recommendations by the committee, again, as always in the past, the committee raised their concerns about the fact that the equitable share formula has not been changed yet, and that the vastness and size of the Northern Cape province needs to be taken into consideration. Another thing that was also high on the agenda was money available when disasters occur. And again, they want disaster money and funding to be immediately available. Regarding the adoption, the committee adopted this negotiating mandate, and it was duly signed by the acting chairperson of the committee, Honourable G. van Staden, and the committee recommends to the House to mandate the permanent delegate, who's myself, to support this bill. Thank you, Honourable Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Honorable Okam. That is the mandate, negotiating mandate from Northern Cape. Can we then allow Honorable Bibi to be the next?
Okay.
Then we'll go back to our sequence.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. The negotiating mandate from KZN read as follows. To Honorable DG Mahlangu, Chairperson of the Senate Committee Appropriations, name of the bill, division of the revenue bill, number of Bill B2 2023, date of the deliberation, it was on the 19th of April 2023. The vote of the legislature, the portfolio committee of the finance met today, which means on the 19th of April, Wednesday, the 19th of April 2023, and agreed to mandate the KwaZulu-Natal delegation to support the division of revenue bill B2 2023, signed by Honorable S. Nkosi, Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee of Finance, on the 19th April 2023. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. And sorry about that cough. We'll be quick. Eastern Cape.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and good morning to you and all honorable members in the meeting. I think we'll not read the presentation, we'll just paraphrase what we've submitted. But in the main, the Eastern Cape support the the appropriation bill as presented, but there were comments that were made by the committee. One which include, if I were just to paraphrase without reading, following the presentation, that which include one on the issue of removal of the municipal housing emergency grants from local government to national. I think as the Eastern Cape were raising a concern to that, that conditional grant allocated to municipalities should be brought back, because the view of the Eastern Cape is that that grant, emergency grant, is better placed in provinces and local government. The second issue that we raised as a province around the issue of the budget was the timing of the appropriation of the adjustment budget, wherein, for instance, in the context of the Eastern Cape, you had an allocation which was made around November, which was then the approval was made in January. Subsequent to that, that money was retaken back from the province. We're talking about the timing of the allocation of that. The third issue that we're raising with the province is the issue of the historical removal, the issue of the historical backlog as one of the formula requisite or areas of focus when the appropriation is made, that in the current bill, the historical backlog is removed as one of the consideration points when the appropriation and the equitable share is made among the provinces. I think, Honorable Chair, in the main, or the issue of the involvement of SALG in the actual appropriation process, I mean the part of the bill is also raised by Eastern Cape municipalities. The issue of the INEP as well is also raised as one of the grants located within the context of local government. The third issue is the issue of the transport grant, transport network grant, which were of the view of the province of the Eastern Cape that that particular grant should not only support the metropolitan areas, that grant should also support secondary towns, secondary cities, or secondary municipalities. So that is the context of the last issue is the issue of the agri-hubs issue, which was also raised by the Eastern Cape, that there was an allocation of the agri-hubs, which is not even catered into in this current appropriation. Otherwise, the spirit and the latter of the bill is supported with those areas that the Eastern Cape as a province have raised on the bill. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I just paraphrased without reading it point by point. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. We have seen all the members have received the negotiating mandates from all the provinces. We have seen issues that have been raised by the portfolio committees, and we want to appreciate that, which to us says that they concentrated and paid an attention on the bill as presented to them, and some of the issues were raised by the public as they were doing public participation. So we appreciate those things. Some of the things came as in a form of condition, but we understand that and we'll take those things and process them going forward. Who's this? Free State Ntate Mletsane, is he on their platform? Lubabalo, is Ntate Mletsane on the platform?
Chairperson, hello,
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Unfortunately, no, Chairperson. He's not here.
Okay.
Can we skip the Free State Chairperson for now and go to Gauteng? Then in the meantime, I'm going to make follow up with Honorable Moletsane. With your permission,
Okay.
Chair.
And if we have the chairperson of the portfolio committee, we can give him or her an opportunity to do the presentation.
Remember, Chair,
yeah.
we received an apology.
Oh, the apology from.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then can you flight Gauteng, Honorable Ryder?
Good morning, Chair. Thank you very much. Before I start, I'd just like to say that I think KZN has been much represented today. So well done to Honorable Bibi. Chairperson, yes, the Finance Committee of Gauteng met, and before I get into the detail of that, I'd just like to say a special thank you to the team from Treasury, and also to the team that looked after the organizations, the liaison staff, etc., for a smoothly organized interaction that went off quite well, all things considered. And I say that, Chair, because I think that attendance of the meeting, while there was a quorum, attendance was not good, which I believe diluted the democracy, and I feel that there wasn't fantastic representation from Gauteng members, and I also think that the lack of response from the community in terms of the public participation was once again disappointing. Having said that, Chair, I think that the committee did their work very efficiently, and again, we had a difficult set of circumstances to work with, because there seemed to be load shedding across the majority of the province at the time. The chairperson was knocked off. I was knocked off for quite some time, and the acting chairperson handled the meeting extremely well. The recommendations of the committee at the end, I'll read there, or I'll summarize them briefly. We spoke about the fact that local government is at the coalface of service delivery, and National Treasury should therefore amending conditional grants into indirect grants only as a last resort, and instead rather capacitate municipalities to spend funds prudently, the funds that are allocated to them. The second recommendation, Chair, is that National Treasury should ensure that the equitable share formula is based on recent data, and the lack of up-to-date data due to the suspension of the General Household Survey in 2021 compromised informed policy-making decisions. It was also noted during the meeting that we await the outcome of the last census. The third recommendation was that National Treasury should explain the conspicuous omission of the funding for the implementation of the developmental district model in the 2023 budget. And the fourth was that National Treasury should consider capacitating municipalities to harness their own finances to circumvent instances of unfunded budgets as a consequence of the subdued economic environment. So those were that was the main thrust of the recommendations, Chair. The final position is that the Finance Committee generally supports the principle and detail of the DORA bill. Yeah, we'd just like to interact with Treasury a little more on those four matters that have been highlighted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ryder. Which one comes next after Gauteng? Limpopo?
Limpopo, Chairperson. Yes, Chair.
Limpopo, Honorable Mamarahani.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson.
Can you flight it, Estelle? Okay, thank you. There you are.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson. The final, I think Lubabalo is very fast. It was written to the Chairperson of Select Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Mashangu. The name of the bill, Division of Revenue Bill. The number of the bill is B2 of 2023. The date of deliberation was on the 18th April 2023. And then the vote of the legislature, the provincial NCOP permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill with recommendation. And it was signed by the Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Pala, and the date of the signature of the signature, yes, was on the 24th April 2023. Now, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Must I go straight to the recommendation, or is it okay?
You can, Madam. If you so feel.
Okay. Okay, let me go to the recommendations. It was recommended that government should develop a well-funded capacity building program to assist municipalities. Further, to know that adequate planning would immediately assist municipalities with effective execution of infrastructure programs. There is a need to review the estimate of the outer years upwardly so that they can match the expectation of communities for a more faster pace of the infrastructure delivery. National Treasury should find a way to transfer monies owed by provincial department directly to affected municipalities. Also, and then the negotiating mandate, the Portfolio Committee on Provincial Treasury hereby confers a negotiating mandate to the National Council of Provinces permanent delegate to negotiate in favor of the bill, signed by the Honorable Chairperson, Honorable K.A. Pala, the Chairperson Committee of Portfolio Committee on Provincial Treasury. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mamarkhani. Are we sorted with the Free State, or do we take the other province?
For now, Chairperson, we may proceed to Mpumalanga. I'm unable to get hold of Honorable Moletsane, Chair.
Can we go to Western Cape?
Yes, but the Chairperson can also decide to delegate another member to deal with it. Chairperson, remember, it's your powers, within your powers, Chair. Thanks.
Can you go to Western Cape and request?
Okay.
Before that, can I request the Honorable Rider to present the mandate of Free State?
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning to all the members. Chairperson, the Western Cape negotiating mandate, in summary, include the following matters. Before we go to the actual mandate, is that the following matters was raised by the committee. The bill does not ensure that the Western Cape receive its fair share. And also the second matter was the PES formula. Despite repeated calls from this committee, still leaves several key areas such as gender-based violence unfunded. The committee also raised the matter of that the increases in the conditional grant allocations to the Western Cape over the medium-term expenditure framework, MTF, are below inflation. The following matter was raised: the Western Cape will see a 1.5 billion decrease in primary healthcare funding over the MTF. Then another area of concern is the substantial reduction that the province will see in the educational grants, such as the Maths, Science and Technology grant and the Education Infrastructure grant. Despite the influx of first-term students, the committee also on the matter with regard to human settlement, the Western Cape will rank below both Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal in the allocations for the human settlement. The Western Cape also receives the third lowest allocation of any province for extended public works program. In terms of grants for agriculture, a massive source of employment in the Western Cape, province ranks second last in the allocations of the comprehensive agriculture support program. Chairperson, those Western Cape also received the third lowest. Let me see the last one. In terms of grants for agriculture, let's move on. No new conditions. It's too fast. Can we come back? No new conditional. Move up. Move it up, please. The Western. Oh.
Or down.
Can move on.
Through you, Chairperson, my apologies. Must I go to the next page, Honorable?
The next page.
Next page, okay.
Please, next page. No new conditional grants to enable province to deal with the energy disaster have been created. It must be noted that a total of 517 million in provincial and municipal disaster response funding between the provinces' equitable share, notwithstanding each province would have an additional government's energy response. This money would have roughly funded over the MTF and the entire million for emergency power packs of green hydrogen development, Western Cape Provincial Treasury, 2023 B110. According to the ESCOM latest annual report, the entity had irregular expenditure of 67.1 billion in the 2021-2022 financial year. The Western Cape's entire 1.1 billion budget for energy over the MTFF amounts to 1.64% ESCOM irregular expenditure, and yet national government has seen fit to take on even more of ESCOM's debt rather than participating competent provincial governments to address ESCOM's irregular expenditure. In addition, this bill does not make sufficient provision for the public wage increase, which has been reported at 7.5%, with the result that money will need to be moved from service delivery targets to cover the higher than expected wage increase. The bill further allocated no money to fight corruption. The DORB further reports that gross loan debt is expected to increase from 4.73 trillion, 71.1% of GDP in 2022-2023 to 5.06 trillion, 72.8% of GDP in 2023-24, and will peak at 5.84 trillion, 73.6% of GDP in 2025-2026. This all while ESCOM will be bailed out to the tune of 254 billion. South African cannot continue to borrow to fund expenditure in this manner. The poorest people will have to bear the biggest impact of this bill. This bill will bring more sufficient to the poorest people within South Africa due to it having become an incapable state. The committee welcomes the following clause regarding the process regarding litigation and intergovernmental disputes, the review of criteria and objective of grants such as the emergency housing being closed and forming part of departmental funding for the better spending objectives. Clause tighten up procedures regarding non-spending of conditional grants that go directly to local government municipalities. The minority view in terms of standing rule 90, the African National Congress and all and Al-Jama and express its to support the bill. And this is the report. Can we go to the actual report?
Mandate.
Okay, this is the negotiating mandate. It's written to DG Matangu, the chairperson of the Select Committee on Appropriations. Name of the bill, Division of Revenue Bill. Number of bill, B2 2023. Date of deliberations, 24 April 2024. Vote of legislature. The Budget Committee reports that it confers on to the Western Cape permanent delegate in the NCOP, the authority did not support the bill. The reason for non-support is in the report attached. Then it's signed by, can you move on? Signed by, move on. The chairperson is Advocate Barnberg. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Honorable Ryder, are you ready with the Free State?
Yes, yes, indeed, Chair, I am. Thank you. The mandate from the Free State, the negotiating mandate has been received in rough form. It just took the form of one note, which includes the observations of the committee as well. So it says that the Portfolio Committee on Public Accounts and Finance, as designated by the legislature, votes in favour of the bill. They have highlighted again 4 issues. The first is the municipal infrastructure grant funding. The comment there is that MIG should be withheld or returned to National Treasury as it disadvantages the impoverished communities. I beg your pardon. MIG allocation should not be withheld or returned to National Treasury as it disadvantages the impoverished communities of the provision of basic services like water, sanitation, roads, and it makes it virtually impossible to address or eradicate municipal infrastructure backlogs when this happens. The second recommendation relates to the Provincial Emergency Housing Grant, and the committee is of the view that funds should not be redirected to the National Department of Human Settlements, but that a provincial structure should instead be established jointly with National Department, as the province is better placed to deal with service delivery needs of this nature. The third recommendation relates to disaster management allocation. It says the allocation on the disaster management component for the entire province is insufficient and must be increased as it is incapable to address the natural disasters as and when they occur. The last recommendation, Chairperson, is that the Welisizwe Rural Bridges Program is appreciated and welcomed by the committee. They appreciate the allocation of 130 million rand for the Free State Province from this particular program. So the Portfolio Committee therefore supports the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable Ryder. Honorable Titoit, Northwest.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, we received a negotiating mandate from the Northwest Provincial Legislature. It is addressed to you, the Division of Revenue Bill, B2 of 2023. The vote for the legislature is the Portfolio Committee on the Premier, Finance, Cooperative Governments, Human Settlements, Traditional Affairs in favor of the Division of Revenue Bill B2 2023 with proposed amendments. I'm going to go to the proposed amendments. There are 4 lines listed. The Rural Asset Management System grant, the allocation of 10 billion and 24 million rand is inadequate as compared to the dilapidated of the roads in the Northwest Province, and only 73.7% has been spent on the latter. The proposal is that the 2023-24 budget allocation at least be increased with 80%, considering our road conditions, especially during the rainy seasons. Point number 2, for the MTEF that has been allocated to the health sector, it's proposed that funds allocated to the antiretroviral therapy and tuberculosis to be increased to resuscitate the central chronic medicines dispensing and distribution programs as it was decongesting the burdens at the local clinics. Point 3, it's proposed that the Northwest must also consider a comprehensive agriculture support grant so as to enhance its agri-hubs as the province itself, the agricultural dominant to enhance women in farming. And point 4, it's proposed that both the national and provincial treasuries policy to intervene and mitigate timelessly in instances of foreseeable non-expenditure in both the department and municipalities, and further that consequence management must apply as per the PFMA prescripts. And Chair, this negotiating mandate was signed by the Honourable Mutswana, the chairperson of the committee, on the 25th of April this year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Detroit. The last one, if I'm not mistaken, is in Mpumalanga. Is that the last one?
Yes, Chairperson, that's correct, Chair. As
Okay.
I'm going to Mpumalanga, Chair.
Are you flagging it? Are you flagging it?
Yes, Chairperson, I'm flighting it. Just a second, Chairperson. I'm flighting it, Chairperson. I'm flighting
Okay.
it, Chair.
Okay. I will be presenting honorable members and colleagues the mandate from Mpumalanga as attached here, but the mandate it's only the mandate, does not have a report attached, but one knows that or can note that the portfolio committee did sit. I was there, and the team from Treasury, National Treasury, was there, even though the other parties' participation in this process in the committee was really concern for me as a permanent member from Mpumalanga, because it's good to hear other people's views and their critiques, so that we don't just take things for granted that we agree, but then there are other things that we might overlook. So there might be some things that we will learn from them. Also, there was when I attended this negotiating mandate, there was already a program whereby the portfolio committee had three participation from the communities, the sessions in 3 regions for members to participate. So that has taken place. Even though there are issues that has been raised, but also we had the comfort of receiving a report from provincial treasurer to say they were involved. And I think it was not only Mpumalanga provincial treasurer, all other provincial treasurers from different provinces were part of the process as this bill was presented in different platforms. The bill that we am talking to, given a mandate on, is the Division of Revenue Bill, a B2 of 2023, which was deliberated on the 25th of April 2023 in Mpumalanga legislature. The Portfolio Committee on Premier's Office, Finance, Economic Development and Tourism, after considering the Division of Revenue Bill B2 2023, confers on the permanent delegate representing Mpumalanga province in the NCOP a mandate to negotiate in favor of this bill. And this mandate has been signed by Honorable T.S. Tomo, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Premier's Office, Finance, Economic Development and Tourism on the 25th of the 4th month, 2023. This is the mandate from the Mpumalanga report that they are supporting the mandate. So having presented all the mandates, honorable members, I think there are things that have been raised from other provinces, the reports. There are other things that we might want to learn from. Some we might disagree, but in a very honorable way. I have seen something that caught my eyes from the report that has been presented by Honorable Njadu, the report from Western Cape. The wording there to say the minority view. I don't know if is there anything to learn from here. Is this how we also should write the report to indicate that the minority view is this? Because what we usually say, we just indicate a party that this party is abstaining, this party is not agreeing, whatever. So there are things that one must not overlook in the wording, because I remember we used to debate and argue on the wording of the adjournment and the ending of the meeting. That's one thing that we used to have. Can I hear members before we go to the adoption? Because I know other members have to leave before we find ourselves in a situation where we cannot reach a quorum. Honorable Detroit and Honorable Ryder.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, now the only person that had an issue with the German was Honorable Karim, but we let him have his way. Chair, I think let's stick to the way we are handling things to indicate exactly which parties are not comfortable with the bills, instead of saying the minority view. It's just my view.
Okay. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, first I'd like to respond to that comment, but then I have some comments of my own, if you'll allow me.
Okay.
So the first comment is that normally if there's a minority view, it would be backed by a minority report. And I think that if a full report is compiled, then I think you can then submit a minority view. Invariably, I think the general process within Parliament is that our staff tends to put together excellent reports, and we merely disagree on either the conclusions or the final recommendations. So in that case, I think it's more proper for us to voice our reservations than to submit a full minority view. I'm not sure. I wasn't in the Western Cape committee. But you know, one should not speak on their behalf. But I think that you know, yeah, it's quite simple. Our reports are generally extremely well put together, and on the basis of fact. It's merely the recommendations we disagree on from our various different stances, Chair. So I think that I'm extremely happy with the way that our committee presents its outcomes. Chair, having said that, I think that there's a few things I'd like to point out on the discussions that have come forward today. Number one is that the equitable share situation continues to be concerning. It continues to be raised every time that we meet. Chair, and I do think that you know, we get platitudes from Treasury repeatedly that they, you know, reviewing the equitable share formula and they will take these things into consideration, etc., etc. And yet we don't ever seem to come to a decent outcome. Chair, I do believe that one of the problems that that comes about, that brings this about, is the fact that when the budget forum meets, it normally comprises members of the executive from the various provinces. And I don't believe that the chairpersons of committees are included in the budget forum. I've never been to one, so I can't say that emphatically, but it is anecdotally so. So what this means is that the executive is involved in the process of getting to understand the equitable share, how it's calculated, et cetera, and those that have oversight are not involved in the same process. So without wanting to make the budget forum meeting a great big discussion, I think at least the chairpersons of committees, or maybe, you know, even better, 2 or 3 people from each province, provincial committee, could be included in the budget forum, if only with observer status, Chair, that they could get to understand a little bit better about the discussions that are had there, so that we can try and get a better understanding of equitable share, and see that you know what Treasury is doing to meet these consistent demands for a review on the equitable share. Failing that, Chair, let's just fix the equitable share. Chair, that was point 1. Point 2 relates to the information that was given to us by Treasury and given to us to present as members. And I'd just like to point out that it made it incredibly difficult because there were no year-on-year comparisons. So we presented a set of numbers, but there was no basis to say to show if numbers were up or down, or what the changes were that had been made, without doing substantial research as members on our own. So therefore, Chair, I would like to implore that Treasury puts comparative figures in place. Now, I'm certainly no fan of incrementalism, and I don't believe that we should coldly look at matters of, you know, this is what you got last year, this is what you're getting this year. But I do think that it enables a much better conversation if one can see historically what the case has been, what the case is now, and then interrogate the reasons behind that. So it would make it substantially easier for us as members, and certainly members of the provincial committees, if we could have a little bit more of a comparative situation in the numbers that we present. Chair, and I'm going so far as to say I demand that this happens in future, please. And I mean, yeah, one of the points is that the Western Cape. Yes.
Honorable Rider, I didn't hear you. You demand what?
I demand that in future we get comparative numbers so that we can present these things effectively, because otherwise we are just presenting, you know, cold numbers and there's no context to them. Which led to the fact that the Western Cape province, when during their research, and I think it came out in Honourable Njada's presentation, found that the majority, in fact 90% of their grants had actually gone down instead of going up. Now we're hearing all of the comments about people moving to the Western Cape province, and yet seeing their allocations going down doesn't seem to make sense. But it's difficult to unpack that because we don't have the comparative basis. And I also thought that it was quite important to note the comment that you know, there does seem to be a lack of new grants to deal with the main problem that our country is facing, the electricity issue, and the fact that provinces more and more are having to look for clever ideas in terms of finding ways to beat the electricity problems. It would have been nice to see a grant for that. Thank you, Chair. That's my submission.
Thank you very much. I think from the first input that you were saying, having heard everything that you have said, you are agreeing with what Honorable Titoit is saying. And I want to believe that the committee, our support staff, they are making a draft to us and the committee agree on the wording. And it should not be an issue of Honorable Karim. I mean, he's got the right to raise an issue that he has in the committee, but overall, it depends on what majority in the committee agrees on. That will be a committee decision. So from what I'm hearing you, if I hear you well, unless there's a strong feeling that we should no more use the wording that we use of identifying who stands where in terms of the decision of the report, or in terms of the report, or we should agree with what I said I've identified as a very a situation which is very unfamiliar. I'm very unfamiliar with the situation of using the minority view. To me, it gives me a bitter taste, and against what I'm always trying to stand for as a committee, as a unit. But then if there's anyone who feels that we should use that word, it's fine, because we are committees from national, from parliament, and also from provinces. We invite them. We should have the same understanding. We represent the same constituencies. We are all public reps. So we must be able to learn from each other and work as a unit. The issue of the budget forum, Honorable Dennis, I'm not trying to speak on behalf of National Treasury. Like all other departments, they have min-max where MECs from provinces, they come, they attend with their HODs and their strategic managers to that the meeting. But in terms of the budget forum, provinces, provincial treasurers, the MECs and the HODs, they are invited, they participate. In most cases, you will even find the CFOs at some stages who are participating. Chairpersons of Finance and Appropriations in the National Parliament, they are invited to budget forums. But at some stage, or in most cases, you will get an invite today to say tomorrow there's a budget lokotla or budget forum. And there will be a clash, and then you have to prioritize. And also you have to evaluate and weigh which one makes an impact. You can't prioritize a meeting where you are going to be an observer over a meeting where you are supposed to participate or share or make a presentation. So that's just the situation that we find ourselves in. One thing that I have forgotten to emphasize is the issue of which we have discussed in the portfolio committee in Mpumalanga, the issue of oversight, because the AG was also part of she was invited, they were part from Mpumalanga. The issue of the oversight, the committee, I pleaded and requested, and they made a commitment together with the provincial treasurers to do what they're supposed to do. They committed to do oversight, because we don't just appropriate money, we follow the money. We want to see value for money, and we need them as to help us in terms of doing oversight and making sure that there's poor performance, because we went in depth in terms of breaking down the numbers and see which of the departments, or which of the grants are mostly underspent. So those are the issues that we have raised, and I'm happy that one has received a commitment from the portfolio committee and treasurer. Honorable members, now that
Chairperson.
yes, Whip.
Chairperson, I think I just want to make a input on the matter of the minority. As a government, we in terms of the composition is making government, and then the composition is also making committees. So all members of that specific committee made inputs that what was assisting the committee. So I don't think it's correct to at the end to say that a minority, because all members participated in the committee, and I think they make inputs. So to at the end to close to say that to distinguish as how to the committee in different political parties, I think it's not correct. So one must take it from a perspective that there was a committee meeting, and participation was by all members participated, and depending on the outcome, and as all provinces are reporting as issues, I'm just raising that. So, Chairperson, that one, I cannot support the matter of the minority, because all parties participated, all members of the committee participated in the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Njato. I think we are agreeing on the matter of minority view. We are going to stand by what we have been doing as a committee, select committee on appropriations. Now I think we will step off the negotiating mandate as we finalize them and request a mover for the adoption of the mandate.
Chair, before you do that.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just want to emphasize a point. The fact that you get a last-minute invitation to a budget forum is just an indication for me that the budget forum is not working as it should be working. You know, there's a lot of preparation that needs to go in, and if it's something that's being organized at the last minute, so your inputs, Chair, I heard them, I appreciate them, but I think Treasury's got a case to answer, and I really think Treasury needs to come back on this, so that they mustn't think that you've answered on their behalf. We need Treasury to come and give us a response. Please, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ryder. Who is here on behalf of National Treasury?
Sorry, Chairperson. I'm struggling to raise my hand. It's Miss
Wendy.
Miss Wendy Pano from National Treasury, and we've listened to the concern, and it is really an administrative issue. The meeting gets set up long before the time, but it takes a bit of time, unfortunately, sometimes to get the letters out. So what we can do in future maybe is to talk to the from official level with the officials concerned, so that they can inform the chairperson sooner, because we do know about the meeting sooner. But like I say, the problem comes in getting the letters signed politically and getting that up. That takes a few days to do. So maybe that will assist a bit. That we will then just send an email to the support staff to let them know. And we'll do it through our ministry office. Yeah.
Okay. In as far as the issues that have been raised by provinces, is there anything that you want to say?
Chairperson, can I ask Bongani and Letsepa just to focus on shortly on the provincial and local government issues? The Chairperson, maybe we would like direction from yourselves is, of course, when do you want responses submitted to the committee, firstly? And then secondly, guiding on we as National Treasury respond to recommendations made at the end of the report, and we do not respond to analysis of allocations and the like, as was done in the case of Western Cape. So in the past, we did not respond, and last year a concern was raised that we don't respond. Again, just guidance that we only respond to recommendations put forward by the committees. Thanks.
Thank you, Indy. Bongani?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members and colleagues on the platform. So in terms of the issues that were raised, I'll be very quick and summarize. There were issues of stopping and reallocations that were raised to show that sometimes it happens very late in the process. To deal with that, we have put the deadlines for requesting for stopping and reallocation for both provinces and municipalities. And also in terms of the stopping and reallocation, some provinces have raised the issue that if we stop the funding and reallocate it to another province, we are taking away the services from the people. Unfortunately, often the funding is stopped because there is under expenditure. So if there is under expenditure, in any case, by the end of the financial year, that money would have not been utilized and it will revert back to the National Revenue Fund. But to ensure that services are provided elsewhere in the country or in the sector where the money can be utilized, that's why we reallocate to where the money can be used. So the other one was in terms of the funding that was made for agri-hubs. Some provinces have requested that they also get that funding. Unfortunately, that funding, the way that it was allocated, it was through an application through the budget facility for infrastructure. So provinces that want to get that funding, they have to also put in the application through the budget facility for infrastructure. It gets assessed, and then if their case sort of meets the criteria for the assessment, then they will be provided that funding. And the other one was in terms of the insufficient funds for disaster. So in terms of that one, unfortunately, what happens for funding for disaster is that funding is allocated based on the assessments that have been made by the National NDMC, National Disaster Management Center. So it's on that basis that the funding gets allocated. So, and then the other one is regarding the review for the provincial equitable share and the constant sort of unhappiness from the provinces. With regard to that one, unfortunately, the unhappiness that comes from the provinces is in such a way that, for example, the Northern Cape is wanting the allocations to be made based on the vastness, while Western Cape and Gauteng, they wanted to be made allocations to be made based on the population because they say a lot of people are going into their provinces. While the Eastern Cape, on the other hand, they say that we should fund, given that people are moving out of the province, there are still schools that are remaining there, even if there are fewer teachers, that the schools need to be maintained and the teachers need to be paid. So normally the unhappiness is with regard to that, whereby every province wants the allocation to be allocated in such a way that it favors them. And we have always been saying that we welcome any proposals from any provinces that they can submit to assist on this. But in their submission, they should ensure that when they are making a proposal, their proposal, it should be based on official data, as an example, and credible data. So, but even now we welcome any proposals from provinces to assist us to be dealing with this. But in terms of the review itself, then it should, the review is continuing and we are looking at the differentiating between categories of learners within the education component. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members.
Bongani, Mr. Daga, if you can read on the comment, there's a question from Honorable Ryder. Just read there.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Given that the older provinces, but through the TCF, which normally is the subcommittee for the heads of provincial treasuries, given that they are part of the task team for reviewing, I think maybe provinces, they can make submission through the provincial treasuries, because that's where normally these issues are being discussed. Even if it can be a submission, whether inputs are provided by the legislature to the provincial treasuries, then the provincial treasuries, then when they come to those meetings, then they come with like the views for all the provinces. I hope I have responded to the question. Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson and honorable members.
Okay, thank you very much, Team Treasury. Wendy and your team, can I further request that you give us a written submission in as far as the responses are concerned, or the comment that you want to make relating to the reports by Friday, by end of Friday, through the secretariat, then the secretariat will send to members, because we don't want to find ourselves taking much time arguing, saying, no, you said this, you said this, you said this. So if it's in writing, at least it's better, but it's even better that we can engage. Can we do that by Friday? Can I get an indication from members if you agree with that? With my proposal. Honorable members?
Can we agree on that? Can we agree on that, Chair?
Agreed.
Agreed, Chairperson. Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you so much.
Agreed, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mama. Sure. Don't strain your voice. Don't strain your voice.
Okay, Mama, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, can I get a mover for the adoption of the negotiating mandate?
Eastern Cape moves, Chair.
Thank you very much, Eastern Cape.
KZN second, Chair.
You.
Popper and KZN support. Any different view? Ascending view? None, it has been seconded. Thank you very much, colleagues from the provinces, from the legislatures. I'm not chasing you away. You can still stay within the platform if you don't have any other commitments, because we still need the quorum to deal with these two sets of meeting. Two sets of minutes. The first set is the minutes of the 22nd of March, 2023. Can you move, Lubabalo? Check the spelling of your surname or whatever if it's not correctly spelled. Still attendees. The next page. Don't move too fast. Next page.
Honorable Ryder's hand is up, Chair.
Okay, Honorable Ryder, what page is this?
No, it's across the whole document, Chair. I'd like, it's across the whole document. I would like
Yeah.
to express the minority view that SALGA should be all in caps. I see throughout the document it's just got a capital S, but just to indicate the whole word SALGA should be in caps throughout, Chair.
Yeah, I don't want to misinterpret you. You are talking about SALGA as an organization to be in caps. I
Yes.
agree with that. But
Yes.
what are you saying about minority?
I'm being chatterig, Chair. It was just on a lighter note.
You like pulling people's legs, Dennis?
Yebo.
Okay. It's fine. We will correct that. SALGA, capital SALGA. Can we go to the next set? Having adopted the minutes.
Chair, we still need to adopt that set with a mover and a seconder.
Has it? The mover in the seconder was the report. Okay. Can I get the mover for this set of the minutes?
Ryder moves.
Thank you, Honorable Dennis.
Mama Rakhane
Honorable
second. Mama Rakhane second.
Second, together with Honorable Titoit, I think I had Honorable Titoit as well. Okay, let's go to the next set, the meeting of the 24th of March. It started at 8. Let's move like that. SALGA, I think if there's anything like SALGA on our reports, we'll do the same. Anyway, we write, and we usually write them in caps. I don't know what happened this time. It was a very short meeting. Can I get a mover?
I move Chairperson. Mama Rakhane.
Honorable Mama Rakhane is moving. A seconder.
Second, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Titoit, for seconding. With that, honorable members, let me pass my appreciation and thank you very much for availing yourselves for the meeting. More especially, Mama, I hope you get a speedy recovery. I wish you well, and please don't strain yourself. Ne? Take it easy.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Take
Mama.
it easy. Take your medication, and we still need you. We still need you. And thanks very much, honorable members, members from the provinces who are here also, thank you. And our support staff, thanks very much. I appreciate it very much. Thank you, and the meeting stand adjourned.
Report will be sent to members before end of business today. Draft report on this bill, Chair. We will be adopting this report together with the final mandates next Wednesday, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay. So, but then remember, the Babalo, we said Treasury must respond on Friday. Yeah. So if there are things that you have left out, please feed them in before the actual meeting so that we don't discuss the additions. Thank you for that announcement. Thank you very much, honorable members. Keep well.